Hello and welcome to today's video. As you can tell by the topic, it is how to not care what others think of you. And if you are looking for tips, ideas on how to build more self-confidence and not really care what others think, you've come to the right video. Okay, so first I'm going to make a disclaimer. Do not go in thinking this is going to be some magic potion. At the end of this, it's like, boom, you don't care anymore. I wish. But that's not how things work, right? Think of it more as a seed that is planted and slowly starts to grow with time. I know the seed metaphor has been rinsed dry, but just bear with me, okay? When you start to feed your mind with these kinds of ideas, it really will work in building up your self-confidence and making you truly not care what others think. I like to think of things from the very beginning. Think about when a baby is born. Yes, we are going that far behind. So for me, anytime I feel I might care just a little bit subconsciously about someone's opinion or their thought process, something that's going to affect me personally, I always envision them as babies. Think of it as the equivalent of like imagining someone naked, but you are thinking of them as babies. Every single person, from strangers on the street to your friends to your close family, we were all babies at one point with no opinions, no ideas, no preconceived notions or any societal pressures placed on us. But instead we gleaned those through experiences and the environment around us. So anytime you are feeling a little bit disheartened or very upset over an opinion, no matter how much from a good place it might come, maybe it might affect you. For example, if you had long hair for a long time and really wanted to cut your hair short because you really wanted to, and you did, and you thought you looked great, but then your friend was like, oh, you cut your hair? You looked so much better with longer hair. I mean, mind you, they aren't coming from a malicious place, but that little thought worms its way into your mind subconsciously and starts to make you doubt your own decisions, your own opinions on how you look at beauty, for example, on how you view it on yourself. So those things can really affect you, and this is why it's important to look at everyone in the eyes of, hey, you were crawling on the floor at one point. Why do I care what you have to say about me? So I also like to view life as a cycle, which is true and is the case for basically everything. Life is a cycle. But when it comes to this topic, I look at it like ideas, thoughts, etc. are all cycles. They are all somehow gleaned from somewhere. We have certain ideas that we got from our parents, and they got ideas they got from their parents, and so on and so forth, right? So it's important to look at those ideas as coming from a place, okay? For example, I think of my ancestors. I don't know them personally, but I don't know what one of them thought of the color yellow, for example. I don't know what one of them viewed a yellow dress. Did they think it was pretty, or did they prefer more red? We don't know. I mean, yes, historically we can get an idea of how societies perceived beauty image or what they thought of certain things historically, yes, within civilizations. But on an individual level, no, because those certain opinions were buried with them. They're gone right now. Mind you, some things did get passed down. So an example is, you know how piercings and tattoos are very taboo, or were taboo during our parents' time, but not so much now. And that was gained from a place where in society, the rebels and you know, the fashion forward, like out there people would wear like piercings, and it was more of a conservative society. So that really started to affect how they viewed these things. Obviously, it was passed down from our grandparents, who during their time, it was like, tattoos? What? What do you mean tattoos? Those are for criminals, those are for like, etc., right?
Just youthful rebellion, or is it mutilation? Robert Kovacic joins us now with a special investigative report. Tawny and Bob, you must be wondering, what is happening out there?
Yeah.
Times have changed. Body piercing, you know, it's hard to look at for some and even harder to understand.
Whereas now it's like people don't really care. So it all comes from a place at the end of the day. Think of it as a life cycle. And this is where I want you to look at certain thoughts, ideas, and opinions, examine them for yourself, and see what benefits you and what doesn't. There are things that won't benefit you, and I want you to take those, open a little grave, throw them in there, bury them, okay? Those ideas need to die just like the people before them. That was a little harsh. But what I mean is certain things need to go with certain times. Like it should not move on with me as an individual as well. I don't care for this opinion. I really don't care for it. For example, if you are a very creative person, you really want to dabble in the arts, you want your career to revolve around that, but you might come from like an immigrant household where they view academics, lawyer, doctor, so on and so forth, as the career path to go. Go to university, get a degree, and this is what you should do. But maybe it doesn't work for you and you really want to take a risk. This is where it's not necessarily ignoring the opinions of your parents, but it's more understanding that this is your life, these decisions are yours to make, and whether or not it crashes and burns, that's going to be on you. I don't want you to be a doctor sitting in your office regretting a career path that your mom chose for you. There is nothing sadder than that. I want you to make your mistakes on your life, because as much as we love our friends, love our parents' opinions, love the people close to us, in the grand scheme of things, it's irrelevant to the life. It's irrelevant to you. This is where also I think of something more on philosophical terms, but if you really view life itself, the earth, you just like zoom right out of where you are at. And there are so many societies, cultures, countries, the earth, the galaxy, the stars, planets we don't even know. You start to realize all these opinions are so insignificant, it does not matter what your friends are saying. I mean, love you guys, but it's irrelevant. What your parents are saying, also love you guys, irrelevant. Insignificant, if you will. That's more of a better term, I think, than irrelevant. Insignificant, when you actually view it in the grand scope of things. I mean, yes, parents can give you great insight on a lot of topics, but for the most part, I want you to find that out for yourself and discover that for you. So going back to the whole ancestor thing, I'm sure I've had like a poet ancestor who loved to write, was an author, you know, loved those kind of things, and that was for him. But maybe there was another who preferred to go fight in wars and was looking at him like, oh, you're sitting there with your scribbles. You know, I hope he did not take his opinion and kept on with the arts and all that, because that's how we have poetry. If everyone goes the same path, there's no diversity within life. We would not have all the great arts that we do now historically. We wouldn't have any of this stuff if everyone chose the same exact path. This is where I want you to be decisive. I know sometimes opinions can be very hard for you to pick for yourself, to choose for yourself what you want to do, whether it be a lifestyle choice, a career choice, even a fashion choice. I want you to be decisive in yourself, trust yourself, have confidence in you, and pick what you think is the best for you. Don't always go out asking or seeking validation from other people. Sometimes I want you to just go with the flow. Even worst case scenario, it doesn't matter. I want you to do it yourself, because when you ask other people, they're coming from a place of their own experiences and their own environment and projecting that on you. I don't want you to be projected on. That was a weird choice of words, but I don't want you to take any of that in. I want you to pick your own path on all of these things. It doesn't even matter. Like, I want you to take that and run with it. Worst case scenario, what? You drop your 9-to-5 to go experiment in your own business? Okay, so what? It doesn't work out? The 9-to-5 ain't going anywhere. I mean, sometimes, yeah, but there's always 9-to-5s everywhere, is what I'm saying. When you take risks, that's when you start to prosper in life. And I want you to take risks in your opinions as well, especially your opinions. This is your time to pick your path and your destiny. Do not rely on other people. Think of the world, how insignificant we are, and make your own little footprints. I don't want you hopping in your ancestors' footprints, bless them. No, you're gonna take your own path, and that's what I want you to do. You have to build your self-confidence. If you want to experiment with fashion, you want to try a different hairstyle, you want to try a different career, you want to move abroad to a new country, no matter who you ask, people sometimes project their own fears. If you want to go live abroad for a while and you ask your friend, and mind you, it doesn't come from a jealous place or a negative place, but they might be a little hesitant, like, oh, maybe, it's not a good idea if blah, 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 blah. They're projecting their own fears if they were in your situation. Nobody is you except for you. Take that in and go for it. And I'm telling you, your life will change when you don't care. You will take so many risks. You are gonna live a life that other people will look at you and be like, wow, how is this person living this life? How are they doing what they're doing? It's because you decided to do it for yourself and not listen to anyone else.